President Donald Trump met with the Prime Minister of Italy in the Oval Office this afternoon. It's the first time he's met with a European leader since he announced levies. The president did say he's confident a trade deal would be reached while praising his own tariff policy.
No, tariffs are making us rich. We were losing a lot of money under Biden, trillions of dollars, trillions on trade. And now that whole tide has turned. We're making a lot of money. We're taking in a lot of money. Don't forget, we're taking in 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum, 10% baseline. We put penalties on China for sending us fentanyl. We put penalties on Mexico and Canada, 25% for allowing fentanyl and allowing the borders to be weak. Now we're taking in billions and billions of dollars while I sit here and talk to you.
We should point out a minuscule amount of fentanyl goes from Canada into the United States. Trade deals with the European Union are negotiated by the EU and not individual countries, which the Prime Minister of Italy also reiterated during the meeting. The CBC's Richard Madden joins us now from Washington. And Richard, there was also from the Treasury Secretary some talk around trade as well.
Yeah, there was. I mean, the whole purpose of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is to find a way to reach a deal and remove the impasse on this tariff war that the United States has started. And both leaders expressed optimism that perhaps they can reach a deal on these tariffs. Now, the Italian Prime Minister is the first European leader to visit the White House since Trump imposed those 20% tariffs on the European Union. And she's essentially viewed as a point person to act as a bridge between Europe and the White House, to find a way to cut a deal or compromise. And just some context here. Meloni is uniquely positioned. She shares the same cultural conservative values that Trump does. You heard her mention it at the top of their bilateral meeting. She shares the views on cracking down on immigration, traditional values, a shared suspicion of institutions. And you heard her say that they both share their war against woke. And Italy, also, I should add, is one of the few European countries that actually have a trade surplus with the U.S. Americans love Italian cars, its food, its cheeses, its wines, its luxury brands. The only break she has with Trump is her country's unwavering support for Ukraine and its invasion from Russia. We heard her briefly mention that at the top of her comments. The EU is in charge of trade policy, not individual countries. Now, we also heard Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, saying that they have a meeting planned with the delegation from the European Union to talk tariffs, but the Italian Prime Minister could be the white knight from Europe trying to act as a bridge between Europe and the U.S. I wanted to mention a few other noteworthy items that came out of this bilateral meeting. Trump accused judges, including the Supreme Court, for what he believes are trying to take away his presidential authority. And of course, this is linked to a significant story here, a man by the name of Kilmar Garcia. He's from Maryland with legal status in the U.S., who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. The White House says he has a criminal background, and Trump appeared to be doubling down, saying he was elected to remove illegal immigrants in the U.S., and the administration is defying a court order to bring him back. So that appears to be the start of a constitutional crisis between the executive and the judiciary. You mentioned his comments about Iran, demanding that country to give up its nuclear ambitions. But I think from the trade standpoint here, Andrew, I think the headline is the movement we're seeing on that file. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the White House is in talks with the so-called Big 15. Those are the large economic trading partners. He mentioned that they have meetings set with Japan, the EU, South Korea, and India as their way to rebalance trade relationships ignited by the president's trade war. Also, a big domestic story here, Trump doubling down on his social media post earlier today, calling to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. Of course, the Fed is an independent agency. Its chairman warned Trump's tariff agenda could damage the economy. Trump saying, of course, if he wants to fire him, he would. So bottom line here, from the Italian perspective, this is a quick trip for the Prime Minister. She now heads to Rome for another bilateral with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And if it appears there are plans to visit the Vatican. So a significant visit here by the Prime Minister of Italy.
Richard, thank you. The CBC's Richard Madden live in Washington.